Hey guys, this is Coach Bill with Fat Loss Made Easy. Hope you guys are doing great so far. You caught me drinking, this is my fat coffee day. I really look forward to these afternoon fat coffees. Gives me, more calories during the day, but keeps my carbs down. Well guys, I'm going to have an exciting week this week. Really excited about this week. My two twin granddaughters who play for Biola College, they played in the championships last weekend and they won, and they qualified for the college World Series softball for girls, which is going to be in Colorado. So I get to take off tomorrow and spend the week watching my two granddaughters play softball, which is going to be a memorable thing, which is going to be a lot of fun, but I'm really looking forward to that. But I'll still be working as I'm gone, because I do have people I'm working with that I have to keep updating with. But today, guys, gosh dang it, I don't know how else to say this. I'm on these, you've heard me talk about the groups that I'm on, the keto groups, the intermittent fasting groups, the type 2 diabetic groups. I'm on these groups, and I'm constantly getting messages from different people about, I just keep getting messages, or people answering questions about issues that they're having, and it's the same issues over and over and over again, and it just seems to keep going on week by week, month by month, and it just doesn't. The answers aren't giving them the actual answers that the people are looking for. It's because of lack of education, and you guys have heard me talk about this in the past, that education is really important. But what's happening here is it seems to be getting worse and worse and worse. People are just having a hard time losing weight. They'll start on the keto diet, or they'll start, or what I like to call it, the high good dietary fat, low carb meals. And then they'll do intermittent and prolonged fasting, and they'll last maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and they fail and they quit. And of course, what do? They blame the program. And it's not the program's fault. It's their fault, actually. And it's really not their fault either. Now, of course, what I mean by it's their fault is that the lack of education and not doing their own research first. Or not, maybe they need to just get with a coach who's experienced in the lifestyle of keto or high good dietary fat, low carb meals, and who's experienced and does it himself and looks the part, intermittent and prolonged fasting. But the issue is that they're missing the main puzzle, the main piece of the puzzle. Actually, there's a couple of pieces that are probably up there as in the 1 and 2 bracket. And so what's happened is it prompted me to go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and publish and write another book. And I'm going to write a book, and the topic of the book, the first one, is going to be hormones that store fat versus hormones that burn fat. Guys, before you can even really go after the body fat or lose the fat weight, you got to understand and educate yourself on the root cause, why you got there in the first place. You got to know that. It's the only way you're going to be able to reverse it. It's the only way you're going to be able to fix it, is understanding how hormones play a huge part in your weight gain, and they also play a huge part in your fat loss. That's why I chose the topic, and that's why I named it the way it is, hormones that burn fat. Because yeah, you guys do have hormones that burns fat, but you're not in that. You're not activating those hormones because of your lifestyle. The second book that I'm going to be publishing and writing about, and I'm not quite done with that. I'm still doing my research on it. And the topic of that one is going to be how carbs influence weight loss. That's number 2. I think number 1 to me personally is understanding the root cause and understanding hormones which is the major root cause. Number two, understand carbs and how they affect weight gain and weight loss. That to me has got to be number two, because I thought about this and I was been looking or reading all these questions, and I'm thinking about, okay, what's the biggest issue out there? What's the biggest questions everybody has? First of all, nobody's talking about hormones, and that should be the number one. You need to know which hormones do what. Number two, they're talking about low carbs, but they're not explaining yet what low carbs. Which ones should we be eating and which ones should we be staying away from if we're trying to lose body fat, or if we're trying to lower our blood sugar because we have type 2 diabetes. They're not explaining which ones. And so I'm going to go ahead and write a book about the different carbs, which ones you should be doing right now and which ones you shouldn't be doing right now. But understand that some of the ones you shouldn't be doing right now, if you're trying to lose the weight or lower blood sugar, you'll be able to introduce them back later on. Okay? And so one of the doctors out there, I don't know if you guys have heard me talk about, I'm sure you have, Dr. Jason Fung. He is the founding father of how to reverse. Actually, he's not the founding father, but he's the one that started to implement it even more so. The founding fathers were our doctors centuries ago who knew how to reverse type 2 diabetes naturally. Well, Dr. Jason Fung, in the last 10 years, has been introducing that to his practice, and he's reversed not only type 2 diabetes, but obesity over 10 years now, and he's also documented his research on it, and he's backed it up with other scientific research also. And so Emily and I both were basically educated under him for the last few years because of his success rate, and it just made more sense naturally. And our body has the natural ability to reverse overweight and reverse diabetes, type 2 diabetes, and fatty liver. But we just need to know how to activate the hormones that does that. And so the hormones that store fat versus the hormones that burn fat is going to be a huge book as far as educating my personal clients that are doing my online personal coaching program, because that is going to be one of their educational books. The other one, which is How Carbs Influence Weight Loss, will be a second educational book. And that one's going to be part of my clients' educational books that they need to read and educate themselves, because that's a big factor. I'm actually putting these two at the top two. I've got a total of 13 ebooks, training ebooks for my clients that they can go back to and view when they wish to. But these 13 books are the key factors to educate them. By the time they're done reading them and getting done in our 90-day program, they're going to be so educated that most of them will probably retain enough to know more than most nutritionists that are coming out of Loma Linda colleges or these colleges, because colleges do not teach what I'm teaching here. They don't teach the actual physiology of the body and how it works when it comes to hormones and carbs. These ebooks describe that. You can actually go on to Amazon.com and type in books, type in my name, Bill Mabry, and there's 4 books. I have a cookbook and 3 other books on there now that's for sale. These 2 books are going to be published there also for the public to be able to purchase, so that you guys will also have the ability to educate yourself more on hormones. But I'm going to talk a little more about my first book here, which is going to be Hormones That Store Fat versus Hormones That Burn Fat. And All these particular hormones I'm talking about are actually backed by science, and in the book, it's a digital book, there'll be links to the actual science research that I'm referring to, okay? Because I want you to know that this isn't coming from me, not at all. I've educated myself through Dr. Jason Fung and doing my own research on actual scientific case studies. The number one hormone that we're going to be talking about in this book is going to be the one that's most all of you have that's out of control: insulin. Insulin is known as your fat storage hormones. It increases your appetite and helps your body store fat. It regulates weight, obviously. So that's going to be the number one, because it's the one that's causing people to be type 2 diabetics. It's the one that's causing insulin resistance, which is an epidemic right now in the United States. Insulin resistance is the root cause to type 2 diabetes, being overweight, obesity, and a fatty liver. Number two is a hormone known as ghrelin. Ghrelin's hormone causes you to be hungry. So ghrelin is what they call your time clock. So for years, if you've been waking up, having breakfast every morning at 8 o'clock, having lunch at 12, and having dinner at 6, for years, then what happens is when those times, and you guys have felt this, when those times come close during the day, you start getting hunger pains, or hunger waves, we like to call them. Well, that's your ghrelin. Even though you may not be hungry, but that's your time clock. Your ghrelin hormone is activated. Got to control it, and there is a way to do that. The next one is called Peptide YY, and I'm sure a lot of you haven't even heard of these before. That's normal because nobody's teaching it. Peptide YY depresses the appetite. But what causes peptide YY not to work? Insulin causes it not to work. The other hormone is leptin. Leptin tells your brain you are full. What causes leptin not to work? Insulin. Your next one is your Hgh growth hormone. This lays down lean muscle masses and increases the metabolism, which does help with weight loss. Why? Because the more lean muscle you add, the higher your metabolism is and the more fat you're going to burn. Plus, for us seniors, Hgh controls slowing premature aging. And as seniors, our muscle gets less and less and less, and that's why seniors are having so many issues with broken bones or falling or hurting, plus they're aging prematurely. They're aging too fast. The problem is the health professionals and the doctors aren't telling the seniors what to do to prevent this. They're just saying you're getting old. That's not going to work for Emily and I, because we're now in a position in our hormones, we do hormone panel tests every 6 months. Our hormones are set up as an 18-year-old for the last couple of years now. So they're not going to be telling us. We're going to do what we can to stay healthy with whatever life we have left on this planet. The other hormone, estrogen, which a lot of you guys know that one is a bad hormone, when actually it really isn't. But what makes estrogen bad is how you put it in a bad environment. And you're going to learn that in this book. So estrogen, high levels of it, causes weight gain, but it also causes medical issues, especially for men, you men. Those of you that are 40 plus, if your testosterone is tanked and your estrogen level is high, you're a candidate for prostate cancer. Look it up yourself. You might want to research this. And I can guarantee you, because I've had it happen to so many of my clients and so many guys, and I've told them, go get your testosterone checked. Let's see where it's at. Oh, my testosterone's fine. My libido's fine. I mean, everything's fine. Guess what, guys? You're going to be shocked. Because if you're below 300, or if you're even below 400, you're not even close to where you're supposed to be. Not even close. and that's an issue. The other one, cortisol. Oh my gosh, everybody blows up about cortisol because it's a bad hormone. It's a fat gaining hormone, right? No. It's the environment. You have to have cortisol in order to burn fat. You have to have cortisol in order to add lean muscle. But what's happening is most of the public puts cortisol in a bad environment. And you're going to learn the difference in this book. Women, this is a big issue for most women that are over 40 or going through menopause. Progesterone, it's huge. You got to make sure your progesterone is at a healthy level. This affects weight loss. This affects weight gain. This affects sleeping. Exactly. You got to make sure you have it in check, girls. And so the book will explain it. The other one is your thyroid. That plays a huge part. There's the hormones which are connected with the thyroid plays, your T3s and T4s, they play a huge part. You got to understand that. Melatonin. What do you know? Do you guys know what melatonin is? Most of you probably do. That's your sleep. How good a sleep are you getting at night? That's another issue. If you're not sleeping good, you're going to have a hard time losing weight. Here's a big one for both men and women. Is testosterone. Testosterone this is another hormone that you need to keep in control and have it at a healthy level in order to be healthy, overall health. That's a huge thing because testosterone plays a huge part in overall health with bones, muscles, and so forth, your brain, your metabolism. You men, it will protect you from being in that category of prostate cancer if it's too low. You don't want it to be too low. The other one, I can't even pronounce it, and I just learned about this one about a year ago. I'm going to spell it though, okay? So the other one, oh, I think I messed up here. No, there we go. The other one is called, it's CYSKOKININ. The short term of this, the name of this is CCK. That's what I call it, CCK. It's a gut hormone released after a meal, which helps digestion and reduces appetite. So it's released after a meal. Nutrient-induced CKK releases a major controller of meal size. Now, what causes the malfunction of this hormone? Sugar. High doses of high carb meal in one sitting. That's why you guys that have eaten a big meal and then 2 hours later, what happens? You're hungry again. Your CKK is not working because of what you ate. It's funny because fat, when you're burning fat, if your body is burning ketones and your body is fat adapted and ketone adapted, your CCK is going to be very, very strong. We found that out. It's very simple. Because we're on a high-fat, low-carb diet. People say you're not getting enough calories. I'm getting plenty of calories. There's a lot more calories in fat than there are in carbs and protein. A lot more. And that's why we're able to meet our calorie intake per day to operate sufficiently. The next one, I'm going to spell it. It's called GLUCOCORTICOID. And this is an important hormone, which I explain very detailed in the book. But it also is, you might want to say it's part of cortisol, because if you look at it, the way it's spelled, cortisol and this one play a part. And I'll explain that in the book also. So the bottom line, guys, is a high-carb meal plan eaten multiple times a day will cause insulin resistance, which is the root cause of obesity, weight gain, type 2 diabetes, fatty liver. The sad thing about fatty liver, if you're overweight 15, 20, 30 pounds, you may not even know you have it. And that particular disease is known as a silent killer because it can escalate the longer you stay overweight. Okay, guys? So, guys, these are 2 books. I'm going to write 2 new books. The first one's going to be called Hormones That Store Fat versus Hormones That Burn Fat. This is the root cause. You guys have to know the hormones. You've got to understand them. You've got to be, and that's why I'm writing this book, because nobody is explaining them in a, well, how do we want to say it, an uncomplicated way. I'm not good with complications, so I have to have things explained to me uncomplicated. And that's how I'm going to explain these hormones in the book, to where it comes right to the point and gives you a full understanding of what activates it or what deactivates it, okay? The second book is going to be How Carbs Influence Weight Loss. Like I said at the beginning, I did this particular one. I'm going to write this one because people are still confused about carbs. They don't know, they're thinking that, okay, starchy carbs, what are starchy carbs? What are refined carbs? What are complex carbs? What are fruit? What's fruit? How's fruit there? Is below ground vegetables good to eat? Does that raise the insulin? What's the best vegetables? Below ground or above ground? I'm going to explain all this stuff in the How Carbs Influence Weight Loss book. That way there's no misconception and there's no confusion. You'll know it. In that particular book, I'm also going to give you the top vegetables that we eat and what science says about them and how they help burn fat and regulate your hormones. Okay? So I hope you guys saw some value in this. Like I said, these 2 books will be for my personal online coaching clients who ever purchased my packages or my courses. I have courses now. And so be looking for these. I'm going to be sending these out to my current clients here in the next few weeks once I get them done. And also, guys, you can go to my YouTube channel, type in Bill Mabry, subscribe to it. Lots of good videos. Also go to my Fat Loss Made Easy Facebook group page. I've got a free ebook on weight loss mistakes. I've also got a free ebook for those of you that have type 2 diabetes on how to lower the blood sugar and get off medication naturally. And then I have some of my favorite meal plans, fat burning meal plans, in the downloads also. Okay, so go ahead and visit those 2 sites. Hope to see you in the Fat Loss Made Easy. Hope you guys have a great day, and we'll see you guys at the next video. Bye.